everyone get yourself a little short veil and just wear it around because people treat you so differently. It's like the world is a happy place with a veil on. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm telling you, night and day, the way people were giving me free things. I'm just meeting them, walking out the store on my way to the car, and they're like, "Oh my God, can I give you something?" I mean, it was just really, really nice. I think that's what I've learned in the last, year or almost year in this planning of this situation is to just try to find those glimmers.
Yeah.
Right. Which I tried to find those in other ways because I tend to be a person who looks at the downside of things and I worry about stuff and anxiety. And so trying to find those glimmers in things really, really helps,
Yeah. And it's interesting because luckily, because you were in these groups where a lot of the stuff you were going through, they could identify with like immediately. Oh yeah, we went through this.
Right. Exactly.
Especially with the situation with friends.
Yeah.
Some of them being really there and showing up huge and some of them kind of bowing out.
Right.
So
right.
I'm sure that was helpful. And what was interesting was you kind of encouraged me to you saying, well, why don't you join one of those men's groups and and do that kind of thing. And I tried. I searched for a couple of men's groups on Facebook and I joined a few. And 2 days later, I said, "Oh no, this is a little bit different."
Right.
Because with the men's groups, the difficulty is they can't keep their ego out of it. At some point they, well, my woman, I'm just gonna, it's all this kind of stuff. And so a lot of it was, it was a lot of chest thumping and stuff like that. And I said, no, I can't do that.
Right.
Luckily, I have a lot of friends that I can have these conversations with out here as well as on the East Coast where I can talk to them. But in terms of forums, if to find an ego absent forum for men, it's pretty difficult.
I can imagine how hard that is.
One of the things that I've found in talking to a lot of people, especially some of my friends and stuff who've been married, is everybody goes through all of this stuff, in terms of life not waiting for us to get married and things happening with, be it parents or kids or whatever.
Right.
Everybody has gone through that. One of the other interesting things is about the invites and getting a final count.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to anyone who's been able to nail that smoothly.
Right.
It's always, hey, I'm coming, no, I'm not coming. And then, okay, maybe I will come, but I need a +4. And it just all of this kind of stuff. And that's been interesting. And another thing that's happened more so on your side has to do with, you got people who don't want to sit next to each other or insist on sitting next to this person. And with the way the tables are, we're not going to make everybody happy. And they're going to have to figure out a way to be happy.
Right. Yeah, it's challenging. Trying to figure that out because the numbers are not right. They're not even,
right.
So you have one person and there was a few people and I was surprised that actually let go of their +1, which was nice because it opened up like, okay, we can invite, other people that we had been thinking about, but at the same time it was hard for the seating because you don't want to put someone at a table where they don't know anybody, and so some tables have like one opening here, there, everywhere. Right. And then once we thought we had a table all locked down, like, oh, this table's set, one person might ask for a +1, and then it throws everything off. It kicks somebody out the table who really only fit at that table, right? So we say this to say that we hope when people go to weddings that, myself included, right?
Yes.
Like I've been to weddings where I sat at a table where I kind of didn't really know anyone. And I didn't have a +1. You just have a good time.
Yes.
Try to have a good time and, you're not going to sit in your seat the whole time. You're going to get up, you're going to mingle. And, for us, we have the photo booth out there and we have that courtyard where in the cocktail, like just mingle and hopefully you're there to enjoy us,
Yes.
coming together as a couple or whoever it is that you're going to see. Like, I think that's huge to keep that in mind. Going back a little bit, I couldn't talk about it earlier, so I was getting like a little bit emotional, and I was like, but the wedding dress shopping, like you see on TV, like all these friends are going to be sitting there with you, or even family, right? You've seen these shows, Bridezilla or whatever. I never watch any of that. I don't like reality TV, but I've heard about it. And my mom, she's more by Yes to the Dress, right? So I knew a lot about it from her. And you pictured all these people coming with you, and you're walking out, and no, it was, at least my experience was not like that.
Yes.
Right? So I did have a couple of friends come, and one friend Zoomed from out of state, which was absolutely awesome. I didn't ask that. That's the other part. I'm not an asker, like, come with me. And that's partly my fault. But I also will only really ask people that I know won't see it as a burden, or at least I think I won't. I'm thinking for people, and I shouldn't do that. But it was just not what I was picturing. At one point I'm like in the shop by myself. Okay? Like you don't think you're going to be doing that alone, and it was hard. It was challenging. And then the final dress that I did choose, I was with my mom, which was nice. But it was a very nice place that I got the dress from, Della Curva, shout out to Della Curva. And I think that would have been like awesome to have those people in there. The place was just so lush and just, it was just amazing, and I was glad that my mom could be there, but it would have been nice, like if I had like, a group of friends with me doing that. But you just have to be, I think at one point when I was getting really crazy about everything, Freddie's like, this is about us getting married.
Yes.
Right. And so that's something to remember, that it's, while all of that stuff is beautiful and we see these amazing weddings with all of the special touches, the main thing is that you're getting married to this person. And that's the thing you want to keep in perspective and try not to let all those other things get in the way. It's hard, especially as the woman, right? Because the wedding seems to be for the woman.
Yeah.
As much as I try to make it for you too, about you too.
It was.
So, yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
But I think, and I guess part of my frustration sometimes with people is them not realizing that when you're invited to a wedding, it's not about you. And I remember, this is probably 7-8 years ago, I went to a friend of mine's wedding, and we sat with people we didn't know and everything, and the food came around, and I heard a whole bunch of complaining, and they're upset, and they're saying, oh, well, they don't have the right drinks at the bar and all this kind of stuff. And I just got upset, and I said, look, why are you here? Why are you here? I'm here to celebrate a friend of mine. And to be honest with you, if they didn't feed me at all or give me a drink, I'd be fine, because I'm here to celebrate my friend. Why are you here? Why don't you just leave? Because honestly, they don't need this. They're here to share their event with you, and you're worried about the chicken not having enough flavor. I get it. Sometimes catering isn't the greatest.
Right.
But it's not about you. And so for our wedding, for the people who tried to say, well, we'd rather have this and that, you know what? It's not about you. And if it's that big of a deal, I'm okay if you don't show up. I'm really okay with that, because I want this to be a happy event. I want everyone to be in the right mood. And if you can't be in that mood, that's fine. Just don't come.
Yeah.
That's
and I understand that piece, and I feel that way a little bit. But there's also that other piece of me where it's like, I want everyone who attends to have like this experience.
I agree.
That, they won't forget. And that's just how I am about everything. I'm like that about teaching. And when I put on a show at school, like that's the way that I am. And so that's that I put that pressure on myself. It's kind of harder. It is harder to do it when something is so expensive, though.
Yes.
It is a little bit more difficult, and life is stressful, and, the whole situation itself is stressful. it is hard to just keep that in mind. After a while, I'm not even like pleasing myself on certain things, right?
Yeah.
Like I wanted the charger plates, right? I didn't want the charger plates that the place offered. So I said, oh, I'm going to get these charger plates. And then when they came in, to me, they weren't the right gold. So then I had Freddie and I sitting there painting with a gold pen, this little detail. I mean, it's very small, little small detail on the plate, right? So we're sitting there, you know, we had a goal of like 10 plates a day, whatever it was. At the same time, the what do you call that? The table runner that I wanted wasn't available in the exact shade that I wanted, which would have matched the plate. So I had to go with a different table runner. So now I have some plates that match the new table runner and some that don't. I am not about to go back into it. So some of them will not be matching, you know, I had to let that go.
And especially if you realize that in a lot of these wedding venues, the lights are not extremely bright. Nobody's going to know and nobody's going to care. Nobody.
Doesn't care.
Nobody. And to be honest with you, the person who picks that up is the first person to be escorted out. You know, if that was that big of a deal for you, that there's a different shade of gold, then hey, you know, see what kind of gold you can find at the McDonald's down the street. I don't have any interest in it. I just really,
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. But I went in with certain things I want to serve. I want the table to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad we were able to make that happen. Like, I feel like all the people that we've worked with, like I love the florist. She's like so amazing.
She is awesome.
You know, Hummingbird, I think, I believe it's called.
Yes, Hummingbird.
Herbal florist in Long Beach. She's amazing. And she's helping my vision come on. I know that's what their job is, but I also like the time we talked about, the way she gives us so much time when we sit down with her. It's like you said, like it's we're the only people that exist. So of course I wanted to change the chairs and change this and change that. And you know, that looking back now, I'm like, is anyone gonna care once you sit in the chair? But you know what? I know that I still will care, because when I walk into a place, I'm like, those chairs don't go. I know for me, it matters. Right?
Doesn't matter at all.
It doesn't matter to the point of like, that's it, we're going to shut the day down. But those little details, people do notice the fine details that went into something. So it makes...
I'm sure somebody will.
Yes, lots of people will, right? It makes things lovelier when, you know, when there's just like little details and things, but it just shows the love that went into it. But, you know, here we are just a few weeks away from everything, and we have a lot of things in order. I mean, getting all of your vendors could be kind of challenging. I had to pick up with a makeup artist. You know, I found a makeup artist, and then the communication dropped with them and it just never picked back up. And that was really hard for me to let that person go, because I don't know. We know people in common, and I didn't want to create any bad space, but also I had to, for my mental well-being, I had to say, okay, I need to find someone else that's reliable. I mean, that to most of you listening, you're going to say that makes total sense, but it's just it's not always just so easy as it sounds. Yeah. And then finding someone to do hair and makeup, they both happen to be really far out in LA. It's not like, you know, Atlanta and Texas and DC. Yeah. In New York, you got all the hot people. Yeah. You know, every time I find someone online, I'm like, oh, they're not here. You know what I mean? I'm not about to fly someone. There's not that kind of money going on.
Right.
So it was a challenge, but we're here, and I feel like I have the right people that are going to help me on my day. Hired a day of coordinator. The venue comes with one, but this is a little different. Like, I felt like that wasn't going to be enough, because that person is only going to do things for their venue, where this person is going to help me before and after the wedding, you know, the days before and days after, which I'm going to need that support. So I am so grateful. And she made some suggestions that no one had made.
Yeah, she's very good.
She's very good. So I really appreciate that. One thing I really want to suggest is do not procrastinate. Like I said, don't buy things too early on that you don't know for sure you want. Don't let it be like, oh, this looks kind of cute, I'll get it type of thing, unless you know for sure it fits the aesthetic you want. But also procrastinating made us lose out on some things. Yes, it turned out okay in the end, but for example, there was this suit that we chose early on for Freddie, and about 6 months of, okay, I'll do it tomorrow.
It was not technically 6 months.
5.5, 5.5.
I would think maybe around 4 months, but okay, that's fine.
Or take.
All right, that's fine.
Okay. And when he went to go order it, it wasn't available, and it wasn't going to be for 2 months or something like that, and that wasn't going to work. So we ended up having to go downtown, and it worked out nicely going downtown.
Not even better.
Even better. Did save money.
You're welcome.
I still don't know that I would have picked that suit over the one that we missed out on.
Yeah.
It did end up working out, and we also found that there's so much you could do downtown. Like, I was trying to avoid downtown for safety reasons and just the madness of how much stores you have to go in before you find what you want. But it was actually worth it, what we did.
Yeah.
But I still do not suggest procrastinating.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, the wedding bands.
Yes.
That has been, it's very hard for me. I have a princess cut engagement ring, and I want something that I feel goes with it. I was having a hard time finding something. What I would do is I'd find something that I loved, then I would try to find it on Amazon, the cheap version, order it and see if it looked right. And I was just, it wasn't working. It wasn't working at all. So the day that my friends from work threw a bridal shower for me, I decided that on the way home, I'm going to go to every single jewelry store that I pass. And I did. And it was a lot of fun. Speaking of, you know, everyone get yourself a little short veil and just wear it around, because people treat you so differently. It's like the world is a happy place with a veil on. Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, just, I'm telling you, night and day, the way people were giving me free things. I'm just meeting them walking out the store on my way to the car, and they're like, "Oh my God, can I give you something?" I mean, it was just really, really nice. But anyway, I finally found a place that could do the ring the way that I wanted it done, and they were going to throw in a band for Freddie. Right. But Freddie had already picked a band.
Yes.
So I needed to have him go down there and see if he liked any of the choices they had for free. So we did that, right? The next day we went down there. We thought we had everything settled, or we did have everything settled. One of the people that worked there said, "Hey, it's going to take about 4 weeks." The other one was like, it'll be 2 weeks. So right at the 2-week mark, I'm out at happy hour in typical Tiffany fashion. I'm doing 5 million things at once. So I decide, in between sipping my drink, I'm going to call the jewelry store and see if the ring is ready. So I do. And the person is like, "We can't find any record of, you know, the ring." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Let me, you know, do you know who you spoke to?" And I said, I couldn't remember her name. I said, "It was a Filipino lady." She said, "Oh, well, okay, let me have somebody call you back." About 20 minutes later, somebody calls me back who is Filipino. I could tell her on the phone. And she's like saying, "You know, my manager threw away some receipts. And, you know, yours was probably one of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, please tell me what the ring looked like." I'm getting heated. "What? You threw it away? If I didn't call you, you know, what would have happened? How would you have reached out to me? I can't believe this." And she's on the phone saying, "Please give me another chance. Like, you know, can you send me pictures? I think I remember you." I think she's going on trying to hold me as a customer. And I'm like, I have to talk to my fiance. Like, I can't believe this. We have to start this all over again, right? So I get home and I tell Freddie the story. And I decide, like, let me dig in my purse and see, like, what we have from that place. I had called the wrong place. A place that I did visit that damn night. It was the wrong place. And this woman is trying to figure out, "You please give us another chance."
And this whole time I'm ready to go down there. So, like, this is crazy. Yeah.
We applied for this credit for the ring and everything. We talked to the creditors and haven't paid off, all this kind of stuff. And here we were, I was calling the wrong place. So you just have to laugh at that. No, I did not call her back and apologize. She didn't call me back either to see what happened. So I kind of left it there. But you have to laugh at yourself. Like, it's so many funny, crazy things that have happened along the way. It's been a fun experience, again, looking at the glimmers and, you know, focusing on that day, having your family, friends watch you join the love of your life is the main thing.
Not allowing others and whatever they're feeling to tarnish how you're feeling.
Right. And even yourself. your
Yes.
feelings about what others might be thinking, or
Yes.
something you forgot to do or you left out. Like, you're just gonna have to let it go,
Yeah.
like, and just enjoy the moment before you. You know, there's people there that you wanted to invite but couldn't. There's people there you wanted to be there and you thought would always be there, and they said no.
Right.
You know, that's just what it is, and you just
Yes.
have to let it go. You know, it doesn't define you or anything, and the whole point is to get married.
And that's sometimes what gets lost in the whole thing, is that's what we're doing, is that we're going to get married and we wanted to share that with friends and family. Everything else is trivial
Right.
next to that.
Right. And one thing I didn't mention, my mom is going to marry us.
Yes.
You know, so that's a special thing. No, she's never done it before. So
Yeah, she's going to do the marrying part as well as we have someone to also,
yeah, to help out with it.
so that they can kind of play off each other.
Right. Yeah. So that's really, you know, that's an exciting and special moment.
Yeah.
You know, at first I wasn't too sure about it. I'm like, what? But then I'm like, wow, this is a really beautiful thing. My mom's going to, you know, sign our marriage certificate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was another one of those things where it was like, if that's what she wants to do, then that's what I want her to do.
Right.
It's
right.
really that. And if anybody has a problem with that, then don't show up. I mean, it's just, you know, because that was one of the things. Well, she's never done this before. She's going to be nervous. You know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
She wants to do it.
Right. Right.
And I want to let her do it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
People have a problem, then you've got a problem.
Right. This isn't a Broadway show.
No.
I want it to be fun and the music to be banging. Right. I do want all of that. There's going to be some hiccups and you're just going to have to laugh at it.
It's going to be fun.
You know, it is. It is. Yeah. And speaking of hiccups, financially, there was like a lot of surprises that you don't think about.
Yes.
You know, so I didn't think about, or I didn't, why would I think about this? I've never been through this before, but you know, it's customary. Not that you have to do everything customary. You can do anything, any kind of way you want. And I see people doing that. And most of the things we're doing the way we want. But there's a few things we are, you know, sticking to custom. And when you have people from out of town and you have the rehearsal dinner, even though we don't have a big bridal party, we still have parents and a couple of people, you know, that the ring bearer and flower guys and everything. We do need to have a rehearsal. And so having a dinner for them became a thing.
Yes.
Right? Because we have a lot of out of town guests, like at least 25 to 30 people, I think, are coming from out of town. And so we were like, oh my gosh, it's another huge expense. I kept trying to think of different ways to do it where it wouldn't be such an expense in people's backyards and this and that. But then it would be all the travel issues trying to get people, and some of the people are older, and it just, you know, so we had to reach out to Freddie's mom, you know, and so she's taking care of that, you know, thank goodness, you know, she's helping and supporting in that. So, and then just all the tips you have to give to all the vendors, to all the people. I mean, I would factor in a few, like $1,000 or so,
absolutely,
maybe even more. Everything is quite expensive. And if you have somebody who's far away, you got to factor in the traveling, you know, for them. You know, that you have to factor in the trial. You know, some people say, take the trial, and if you hire me, then it's part of but a lot of them don't. The better the person is, the more talented they are, the more they're like, no.
Yeah.
So
either you want me or you don't.
Yeah. And I understand that, but it's just all these little things that we don't think about that are going to add to the price. You know, you got your food set, but hey, it's late at night and people are going to be hungry, you know, so you need to have a late night, you know, thing. And that's just a couple more $100. And I mean, you don't have to do all of these little things, but it is thoughtful towards your guests, especially the ones that travel so far to make this happen. People, you know, making childcare happen, leaving the state, you know what I mean? Like it's a lot to ask. I get it, you know, they're paying for airfare, they're paying for a hotel, they give me a gift, like it's a lot, you know, and they're meeting your dress code. It's a lot going on there. So that's why I really want that experience to be the best that it can be.
So you missed one of the things that was another bit of anxiety for us was the honeymoon.
Oh,
because we were determined to actually have one. I know, and I know you do too, people who've gotten married and kept planning, and 20 years later, they've never actually done it. And so we were determined to do it and do it within the same calendar year.
Right. Yes. Yes.
So
And so a friend of mine had traveled to Honduras and she stayed at the most luxury place. And my taste is the same as hers, but my budget isn't. So, but I was trying to make that happen.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, we can go there, but we can't eat, you know, or we can book the hotel, but we're going to have to walk, you know. So we settled on, I mean, we had a couple places in mind that we wanted to go. Originally it was Jamaica, right?
Yes.
But we thought it was a little bit far. And I haven't been traveling as much as I used to in the past. Like, I don't want to be as far away from my mom and things like that. So we just decided against that at this time, right? So we ended up choosing Belize, which I love Belize. I've been there before. And we ended up choosing a place that we still couldn't get the place we wanted in Belize because they hiked the prices so much around the time that we can go, which is during my Christmas break as a teacher.
Right.
So a room that would normally be $200 a night was like $800 a night.
Yes.
You know, and again, it's like, okay, we're not going to be able to eat. You know?
Right. And you got to get there. You still got to get there.
So we found a place that it's still cute and comfy, and we're going to be able to go to all the different places we want to go to. But it was a stressful, we spent days and hours each day trying to figure out where we're going to go and what was going to work without us going into debt over it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's really been a tough process. You know, it's been an enjoyable process. I've seen people go through it. I didn't realize how stressful it would be. I normally don't get stressed about stuff like this, but it really did. It really did stress me. Not to say that the stress is totally over, because we're not quite there yet. We still have a few more weeks to go, but we've done a lot. You know, I can say you've done a lot. I have been in more of a support mode, but it has been. And one of the things that I love about this is how we made it through the process as a couple, and how we didn't fight and all of that craziness. We had some tension here and there on a few cases,
right?
But because of the fact that we took time out to talk things through and talk things over,
right?
And I realized I was wrong on some things, and and I realized that I had to up my efforts some, and but it's been a great process.
It has, and I have to say thank you, because I know a lot of people, when they get married, the man just is like, where do I show up? You know. And the woman's doing every single thing. And some women are okay with that. Some women just accept it. They may not be okay with it, but what else are they going to do?
Right.
Or I'm like, just everyone knows the kind of person I am. I'm going to expect the man to kick in. Like, you're not going to be a sidekick. You know what I mean? Like, wearing this, whatever it is we're doing. And so I understand that I'm going to do a little more, because it's my thing. It's my passion. But I'm not about to do all of that by myself. And I don't want you showing up like, oh, I didn't know anything. No, right? Like, go on the people going, or your friends and families. You should be a part of it. So I appreciate that you took that on and you help out and you sit with the through the floral and the color picking and all of those little things.
It was a fun process.
Yeah.
I'm never going to do it again, but it was a fun process. You know, maybe if we decide to renew our vows at some point, we'll do it again.
Yes, I definitely want to do that.
Other than that, I think, but as we draw this to a close.
I do want one more thing before. I want to talk about prenup.
Yes.
So we had talked about a prenup. We spoke to a couple of lawyers, and it is something we want to do, but it is very expensive to do. Not saying it's not worth it, because if anything were to happen, of course, we don't plan on that. That could be more expensive.
Yes.
But we decided to do a post-nup.
Yes.
Shortly, sometime after, within like 6 months, so that we can save up for that and not go into debt for it. But it was just interesting to even learn about that. And some people find that unromantic. It's not a super comfortable thing to talk about, right? But it's kind of like your car insurance. You better have it. You hope you don't get in a car accident.
Yeah,
you do.
It's worth it to kind of get through that, and that way, if something does happen, then that's less you have to worry about. And I know what it really is that, you want the dog. I know, I get it. Okay. You can have him, but no, but seriously, this has really been a great process. And I've enjoyed it, and I wouldn't go through this with anyone else.
I wouldn't either.
And this has been awesome. But as we draw this episode to a close, for Love, Growth, and Narratives, I'm Freddie.
And I'm Tiffany.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
See you.